This man was accused of taking the lives of 2 other men who had allegedly stolen his cattle. Watch his testimony and his explanation about this case.
Adonai, this is your interrogation. You have the right to remain silent, and silence will not be held against you. However, this is also your chance to tell your side of the story and defend yourself. Also, in case of conviction, if you have confessed, it may help reduce your sentence. Adonai, you may speak or remain silent.
I will speak, sir.
All right. Adonai, you are currently being accused of these serious charges. Is that information correct as stated, Adonai? Please confirm this for the record.
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll give the floor to you.
Good morning, Adonai.
Good morning, sir.
How are you?
Fine.
Adonai, what happened on the day of the events? Tell me how your relationship with Paulo was, what you two had agreed upon, if there was anything agreed upon. Speak to the jury. Speak looking at the jury, because the jury needs to understand this whole situation. It's getting confusing.
It was like this. I managed my mother's affairs, you know. My father is already elderly. I gave him a stroke, so the one who was left to handle the family situation is me. So I told my mother that I wanted to start working on the side so we could set up a feedlot, but I needed a place close to the city because I also deal with vegetables. There are trucks, there is property, so that's what I did. So I have to stay somewhere close to the city so I can take care of the cattle. Since then, I had 130 head of cattle. The first 40 days, it was great. They would take care of the cattle early at lunchtime or in the afternoon, you know? I would go out to herd the cattle there. That was it. Then after a few days, about 40 or 60 days, a very strange movement of drug users started, you know? Drug users, and so I wouldn't have any problems with the law, or with the police chief, or with the public prosecutor's office, right? I started to decide to sell the cattle. I even told my mother, look, Mom, things were going so well. Then this guy started, you know, making some moves over there. Mr. Paulo has already been arrested for drug trafficking, he and his mother, you know. Mr. Eric has a record for drug trafficking, you know. Mr. Eric has already been involved in a homicide, Mr. Eric.
I'm going to select in order.
The team is talking about the victim.
No.
I want to hear about the situation.
I would like to hear directly from the person who was victimized. Can you please
Make a request. Can I make a request? Stay tuned. I'm moving forward, Doctor. Are you up to something here, ma'am?
No. No,
Let me speak. I start to make a request and you interrupt me, right? I don't want to hear the truth, but that's normal, depending on what the truth is.
No, that's not right.
Doctor, no.
Now, doctor, here is the thing. Sir, no, please, that is not it.
No! You,
You really must respect their defensive strategy.
right over here.
We are not sitting in the defendant's seat.
If you have something personal, I don't know what,
You must respect the defense. So I'm here doing my job. I woke up this morning just like you did, and I'm here to do my job. So don't come and say that the defense isn't committed to the truth, because just as you are, so are we.
Serve your client. No.
My commitment is also to the truth. So don't put words in my mouth. That's a disgrace, doctor. That's a disgrace.
The disgrace is what you are doing here. I'm sorry. Stop talking about yourselves here.
It is you only, my friend.
Make requests, Adonai, since your lawyers won't let you speak or tell the truth.
Truth is with me, Mr. Prosecutor. So tell the truth, Mr. Prosecutor. The truth is with me. You know that.
Adonai, I know you well.
Are wise.
I know.
Look at that. I go through hell. I'm here at the trial, a year in jail, with my father almost dying over there. Is that right? That's playing with other people's lives. Is that right? Look.
Adonai, calm down.
And the next 20 are already set, right?
Doctor, I've been in jail for a year. Eating bread with avocado tea, 2 blind knots. Oh my God, doctor.
No.
Doctor, but I already say, doctor, what is this, doctor?
Do you understand?
I'm there, they rob me, and I go to jail because of 2 thieves. One says he shot here, the other there, and that's it, doctor. That's how it is.
Only me.
Am I the only one who can do better than that police station? Am I playing God?
But if you don't let me finish, you'll have to wait outside. I'm not going to finish your interrogation like this. Now it's the prosecutor's turn to speak. Afterwards, I'll give the floor back to you, and you can say whatever you want. All right? Go ahead, doctor.
Excellent. As has already been reported by the Radio de Grada, Article 4744 of the Penal Code does not allow the full use of questions that interfere with the PC. Since Rael is talking here about alleged prior records of the victim that are not in the case file, I would like that not to be mentioned, based on the legal grounds, as was even requested by the attorney in this regard. That is the only request I wanted to make.
We agree regarding the prior records. We have warned him he is not to talk about the prior records anymore, just as we requested. It won't be a problem.
Doctor, may I continue? Everyone knows about my past, and about 2018, 2019, I was a drug user, but I reported the drugs. And today I help many people to quit drugs. Since your collector already talked about my past, but I have never killed anyone, I have never been caught trafficking drugs, so I am just talking about my past. Everyone knows my life is an open book. But today my life is about taking care of my father and my mother, who are with my daughter, with my son. I wake up at 5 in the morning, you understand? And I go to bed at 8 o'clock. You can go to the police station and see that I wake up every day at 6 in the morning to make coffee for the people in Latau and to make bread there, because the others get up later and I'm the one who takes care of the people in the intake area. You can ask the director of the jail.
All right, but let's do this. You need to explain the situation regarding the facts.
Doctor, so it was like this. Everything was great. The 41st day was wonderful. I don't know if it started. Like, I'm a guy blessed by God, doctor, because I used to be a mess. My pinky toe, my whole foot was all cracked. Everyone knows that. And I managed to succeed in life, thanks to God, first of all, and to the indigenous people from the Acre region with the great shamans, the curanderos, who took me there. And I made it, and also thanks to the great people from the Freemasons, my uncles from the Freemasonry, who took me to get treatment. And I managed to succeed in my life, walking in truth, in honesty. So what happened, doctor? And then the movement of the air going out and coming back in started.
We won't discuss that.
No, but that's the fact. I decided to sell the cattle. I sold them. There were 130 head of cattle. I sold 105. I traded with a guy from Mandaguaria. For a pickup truck, I got some money. I got a motorcycle. And out of those 130 head, 25 were left. Where? I offered them to Mr. Marcelo. You understand? Mr. Marcelo also said, I'm interested. I'm interested in the cattle, but I can go there later to see them. I'll pay you in cash. All right, Marcelo, go ahead. I called, sent a message to the municipal office, and went to Eric, authorizing him to go there and see the cattle. That was on a Thursday. He got there, arrived, and said, Hey, Donaldinho, here's the thing. Out of these 25 head, those 4 are his. So I said, But Marcelo, they're talking about 4 times 10. I said, Hold on, I'm coming down there so I can honor my commitment, so I can keep my word to Marcelo. I got there. We went in with a pickup truck and loaded up the first trip because it wasn't possible to take everything at once. What?
Is that a truck?
It was an F4000. I think anyone who knows it's an F4000. It carries at most 9 or 10 head. We loaded up the first batch. When we came back, the gate was locked. They were closing up, and Eric was there. Eric was there.
Was that the first time you went there?
Yeah, that was Thursday night, right after I made the deal. On Thursday.
Okay.
You get it? So I got there. I said, what's going on here? Oh, Polo told me to close the gate here, that I'm not supposed to let the truck in. At first I saw the 4 young heifers, mine, separated over there in the corner. I have a video of the herd. When we buy cattle, I don't know if you know, right? If you buy cattle, you get the GTA for the cattle. With the cattle's GTA, you transfer it. Just like if I sell to you, I have to transfer the cattle to you. For that, she doesn't have the paperwork. I have the cattle invoice, I have the video of the cattle, and it was there. And this Eric was there and said the following. I want to talk to Paolo. I don't want to talk to you because you're just an employee.
The first time, Eric was alone.
He was alone, sir.
Okay.
And out of nowhere, he pulled out an iron bar and hit me on my leg. If I had wanted to kill him right there, I would have pulled out my gun, gone in, and killed him. You understand? I didn't do that. If I had, my life would be ruined. I'd be begging them for mercy. Do you understand, sir? Then, all right. So I said I would come back here tomorrow to talk to Paolo. They said Paolo was at Mr. Luro's farm, So I came back the next day, parked my truck at the gate. The gate was locked, but I always had access to go in there. I got there and said, Paolo, here's the deal. You're going to give me back my 4 head of cattle, or else I'll go to the authorities, to the police. Do you understand, sir? Nothing happened. I called out twice, sir, nothing. I went there 3 times, nothing. At that
Moment, did you say you were going to file a police report?
I did, sir. The guy stole from me, didn't he? If you take something that isn't yours, what is that? It's theft.
Okay. And then you...
I left the ranch and went to the police station. When I got to the police station, Officer Fernando attended to me.
But before you got to the police station, did any police officer stop you?
No, no one stopped me, sir.
So there wasn't any police approach then? No.
There was when I left the police station.
I
Got there to the police station and spoke with the investigator, who is Officer Fernando. I think it's Fernando, I'm not sure. Tepes, right, sir? I got there. Then he said, I explained the situation. We didn't know each other. And he said, look, you have to get the cattle, and take one from one side and come here. And like the cattle are in my mother's name. And on the producer's invoice, I am her beneficiary. I answer for her, but she is the owner. He said that my mother also had to go there. Okay, so I went to the agriculture department, right next to the health post here, near Manicao. I went there to get all the invoices for the cattle, got the footage, and hired a lawyer, who at the time I think was Marco Ambueno.
Right. When?
I arrived, I left the police station, right? He told me about my news publication. I left the police station, and the military police stopped me.
Right.
He asked, ma'am, what's going on? Did you fire the shot? I said, no, I didn't do anything. Ma'am, we're going to do a search. They searched me, opened the hood of my pickup truck, took everything apart, pulled up the carpet, opened the seat, pulled things out, went underneath, opened the cover, they grabbed a tool. Doctor, I was stuck there for over half an hour. You understand? In front of the police station.
Sir, and your house is on Rua de Maget, near the police station.
I live near City Hall, doctor, right there, near the Shell gas station.
Is City Hall this way?
Yeah, down that way, dear. Okay, yeah. My house from the police station is still about 600 or 700 meters away.
Right. So, then they stopped you and set everything up there.
No, they didn't stop me. I couldn't understand what I was doing here in the report. I thought that you were looking for something. They took the plate off the roof, brought it over, and did it.
But she's a criminal.
Of mine, and I believe also of the jury, of the jurors. Why did you go after the lawyer if you went there to do a report in competition?
Because Officer Fernando said I had to go with the cattle receipts and with the lawyer there. And,
Did your mother leave because she owned the cattle?
Yeah.
But then I called my mom to let her know, but my mom was at the beach. We have an apartment there. You understand? So, ma'am, I just left. When I left, that's when the stop happened. I called the lawyer, Marcos Bueno.
And furthermore...
Got the cattle receipt. When I got there, they were at the police station. Who?
Cops!
Mr. Paulo, Mr. Eric Reddy?
Was at the...
He and Mr. Valdir were both at the police station.
All right.
Who is Preto?
Okay.
I got out, waited, and Marcon went in. So we waited for half an hour, 40 minutes, and Marcon came out and said, look, ma'am, the police chief said if you're not going to the hospital today, he's going to listen to them, and you should come back tomorrow. This was on a Friday. So I took Marcos, we went again, we came back on Friday.
Telegrapher.
He couldn't hear me that I should come back on Monday. I did the same thing, I came back on Monday. He asked me to come back on Wednesday, so I came back on Wednesday. He scheduled it for Friday. Then on Thursday, the lawyer who was handling things said, Donace, this is nonsense. It's better for you to go into hiding because we're going to file an H-100 Buratiba to overturn this because this doesn't...
Huh? What is that?
A habeas corpus?
Right?
To file it there so we can... So the police chief called me after a week to give me my statement of coherence. I went right away. Ma'am, if Dr. Self had committed a crime and shot someone, I would have gone to the police station to turn myself in, but I don't think that's the case, right? And...
So, let me understand, this is a different situation. This situation where you were on the run.
That's right.
That will be used as an argument.
Yes.
Why didn't you turn yourself in?
Because I hired this Marcos, I switched and got another lawyer in Curitiba, and he said he could arrange for me to turn myself in, like get the arrest warrant lifted so I could respond in freedom. But then it didn't work out. I switched, and just so you know, if you can check, you, Dr. Thais, are my 5th lawyer. During all the time I was on the run, in those 8 months I was a fugitive, I changed...
8
months. Really? Yes. During those 8 months, I changed lawyers 4 times trying to overturn this arrest, trying to prove my innocence. Because, doctor, I'm in jail because of a hole in the wall. The jurors themselves can see it. One says it happened in an open area, but it's impossible to hit my uncle there because there's a piece of wood in the way. Only if he had a Mazzaro revolver, because that one shoots around corners, right? I think so. Then the other one, well, Paolo says it was from the other shot. Another guy says he didn't like the police, doctor.
Okay.
Let me give you...
Alternatively, you surrendered here at the courthouse.
I turned myself in, then I tried to change my plea. It didn't work. Then they said I had to file a habeas corpus in Brasilia to try to overturn it there, but it would take too long. I said, I haven't done anything wrong. I haven't done anything wrong. The truth is on my side. I haven't done anything wrong. I'm going to turn myself in because I thought, doctor, that justice wasn't blind. I believed in justice. Now it's been a year since I've been in jail. My father had a stroke. My father is bedridden, doctor, and I haven't seen my father for a year, haven't seen my children, you understand? My mother is suffering alone there because of two punks, two petty thieves, doctor. You can't say that.
That, okay.
Doctor, I fed the guy, that Eric Matthias. I paid his child support so he wouldn't go to jail, doctor. The guy was bedridden with that thing. I took care of him. I did it because I bought medicine.
Yeah.
It's an outrage, doctor, to be unjustly arrested because of those two scoundrels, you understand? Two scoundrels, you get it, doctor? I want people to know it's the...
And just to be clear, when you went back there for the second time, the gate was already open, right?
It was open, doctor, because the truck was leaving with the cattle. If
You wanted a room, not one made of glass.
No, I didn't need to, doctor. Why would I ruin my life, end up in jail? I have my father, my mother, who depends on me. I have two small children. You understand? Everybody knows. Nobody came here to... Everyone is from around here. They know me. Everyone in town. When have you ever seen me at the door of a bar drinking? My life is for my family, doctor. My life is about helping people.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else you want to say?
No, I don't have anything else. What am I supposed to say? I'm in jail precisely because of a hole. I want you to swear, sir. Look over there. Look at that wall. How many holes are in that wall, you see? How many holes in that wall? So all of those are bullet holes. Now, ma'am, because of one hole, I've been in jail for a year, eating bread with apple tea in that prison. You understand? Far from my father, far from my family, spending money, you know? My father is almost dying there from a stroke, and I'm locked up going through all that humiliation, you understand? Without owing anything. If I owed, okay, I would have to pay, but God knows I don't owe. Human justice is flawed, but God's justice is not. And even though I've been in prison for a year, ma'am, a year in prison, I sleep with a clear conscience. I have the sleep of the righteous, Mr. Prosecutor, Your Honor, members of the jury, I have the sleep of the righteous. You understand? I do. I sleep in peace, despite that hellish place. I do, because there are a lot of innocent people there who don't deserve it, you know? I lived through all of that, you understand?
And is there anything else you want to...
Say? No, I don't, sir. Just my dignity, really.
All right, so now, Danaya, we're going to, if the jurors have any questions about the facts or any questions that the jurors might have, sometimes things aren't very clear. You may ask. He's here to answer, okay?
Any questions from the jurors?
No.
Sir, I would just like to know, Danaya, at the time of these events,
Could you tell me what your professional occupation was?
Sir, I buy and sell vegetables. I transport them from Santa Catarina. I have references. I transport all over Brazil. I buy and sell cars. I do all kinds of deals. I work with cattle. And I also help, I work as a therapist with people who have problems with chemical dependency or depression, through which I make the brews for the Amazon rainforest, there an acre, together with the shamans, which is currently called ayahuasca. So I do some things for treatment because I was initiated 10 years ago, and today it's been almost 7 years that I've been free from addiction.
And then one more important thing I'd like to know is whether or not during that specific period, talk about the deal you had with Paulo, with him, which was about...
No, I used to pay him 1,000 reais per month. If it were, because it wasn't really a thing, but I paid him 1,000 reais per month for him to treat early, to give the thing early, in the afternoon and later. In the first few days it was great, but then I stopped keeping up with it. What?
Do you know what the price per head was?
More or less there is cattle. Cattle is priced by arroba, a unit of weight. So the heavier the cattle, the more valuable it is. So if a cow today, per arroba, cattle is 300 reals, for a manovina today, which is 20 reals, per arroba 6,000 reals. But at that time, cattle were a bit cheaper, you understand? But what happened? They did that to avoid theft.
And was that your livelihood?
Yes, it's a source of income. My family, my father is a retired police chief, but my father is very ill. And someone had to take over the family business. We have property. I'm the one who is the head and the backbone of the family today.
That's what I wanted to ask you. Have you ever owed anyone money or been charged for a debt?
No, ma'am. I've learned one thing in this life, ma'am. We only prosper at the end of our lives if we are honest. My shaman, who is from Acre, told me, my son, we have to walk the path of truth. Do you understand? So I carry that with me in my life, that we only start to prosper and things work out in our lives because we work truly in happiness. Do you understand? This is a test that I have to go through. Is this meant to make the weakest weaker? No, but that's what it's doing. And the strongest? I learned a lot of things there in prison. You understand? I learned to value a pair of flip-flops, a meal that they throw at you, like pig slop. You understand? The humiliation we suffer in there. You understand? Okay? It's a lot, Doctor. We learn to be strong in there. You?
Do you think you are a blessed person?
I am blessed, Doctor. This here is proof of that. The more trials God, Jesus Christ, had in life, what are we without trials? This is only going to make me stronger. Regardless of the outcome, no. My conscience is at ease.
They're at the inside Adonai's prison. Tell me, do you actually do any kind of regular activity while you are in there?
Doctor, it's like this. When people get there, they go to Patriarch and stay there for about 30 days. And then when you join the general population, right, there's the general population and there's protective custody. I was in the general population. When we join the general population, then, when you're in your cell, you have an RQ to make some coffee. Then a pigeon comes, you can pass some margarine. Then the director of the jail, who is your main guard, he said, since I wake up early, that's my routine. I can't sleep late or wait around. I'm not afraid of spending an hour there, you know, but I just can't do it. It's been a year. So he asked me to make coffee for the people in the holding area. The people who arrive get arrested and stay in intake. So I would get up every day at 5:30 in the morning. I get up, make the coffee, spread margarine on the bread, and send it to the holding area. Then the cleaning crew goes out to the little hallway and delivers the bread to each cell. Then I would take it there. So that was my job.
I see. And did you ever have any infractions or bad behavior there?
No, never. Just like with the guards, even yesterday, if Your Honor wants to pull the footage from the police station and request it, yesterday when I went to the visiting room there with the doctor, they cleared the area so I could walk through. The guards were with me.
All
The guards like me, I respect them. I respect their work. I don't mind, right? I respect their work. They have to do their job.
How long have you been in prison?
1 year, ma'am, 1 year. 1 year. You came to the park. You came with the kids.
Okay. And your children, were you the provider for the family?
Yes, yes. It was like this, ma'am. I was married, but after this happened, you know, it's a lot of humiliation. My mother, I even told her not to come anymore, but it's a lot of humiliation to have to go there and lower your head, both of us. My mother is a saint to me. I don't want that. And I'm strong. Who's going to stop me from fighting? Who's going to stop me from getting even stronger? And sometimes it's an experience I have to go through so I can help other people overcome as well. Because who I was and who I am today, you know? I used to be a guy who was always dirty, begging for money on the street, a homeless person. Today I've made it in life. So if I made it, other people can make it too, through my life experience. And that's why I gave myself up, to show that. But I thought, doctor, that justice was on my side. But justice, because I have the example of a police officer at home who is my father. I do. I learned what is right from my father. My father was a great police officer. You can see it anywhere, in Ortiguera, in everything. My father is a role model. I have the example of a police officer at home. And I believed in justice. But I believed in justice, doctor. Look at what happened to me. I spent a year in jail. A year in jail unjustly because of two nobodies, doctor, who robbed me. So,
Do you think he will be found guilty or innocent? Did you believe what he said? While you share your opinion down below, let's listen to the judge reading what was said and what the jury decided.
The jury, by majority vote regarding the first set of questions, answered yes to numbers 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6, and no to the third. In the second set of questions, they answered yes to questions 1 and 2, and no to the third. This was the vote of the sovereign jury, carried out in accordance with the law. Given the above, considering the arguments presented by both parties in the courtroom and the result of the jury's vote, following the jury's decision, I uphold the indictment to convict the defendant, Adanay Eros Salgado Filho, for violating Articles 121, Paragraph 2, Items 2 and 4, with Article 14, Item 2, and Article 147, Caput of the Penal Code. Sentencing follows. Regarding the crime of attempted qualified homicide, since two qualifying circumstances were recognized, one of them will be used to qualify the offense, namely the base motive, and the other will be used in the second phase, that is, the means that made it difficult for the victim to defend themselves, as a generic aggravating factor in accordance with the settled case law and the principle of migration. In the first phase, I note that the defendant has a criminal record. As for the defendant's social conduct and personality, there are no elements that allow for any negative assessment, while the culpability does not exceed what is expected. I refrain from negatively assessing the motive for the crime to avoid double jeopardy, since it was already used to qualify the offense. As for the victim's behavior, this circumstance is also neutral, and the circumstances and harmful consequences do not differ from what is expected. Therefore, given that there is only one unfavorable judicial circumstance, namely prior criminal record, I increase the sentence by 1/8, setting the base sentence at 13 years and 6 months of imprisonment. In the second phase, as previously explained, the qualifying circumstance of using means that hindered the victim's defense will be applied as a generic aggravating factor due to the concurrence of two qualifying circumstances. The aggravating factor of recidivism also applies. There are no mitigating factors. Thus, I increase the sentence by 2 steps, setting the intermediate sentence at 18 years of imprisonment. In the third phase, no causes for sentence increase apply. On the other hand, the cause for sentence reduction provided in Article 14, Item 2, applies at its maximum level of 2/3, since the criminal act was far from being completed, constituting an attempted crime, so-called white attempt. Thus, the defendant is definitively sentenced to 6 years of imprisonment for this crime. Regarding the crime of threat, in the first stage, I note that the accused has a prior criminal record. As for the other judicial circumstances, I am not desperate. So I set the minimum sentence at 1 month and 3 days of detention due to an increase of 1/8. In the second stage, there are no mitigating factors. However, the aggravating factor of recidivism applies, resulting in an increase of 1/6. Therefore, the intermediate sentence amounts to 1 month and 8 days of detention, which is also the final sentence since there are no causes for increase or reduction. As the crimes were committed in material concurrence, the accumulation of sentences is mandatory, and also in light of Informative 771 from the Superior Court of Justice, which allows for the accumulation of detention and imprisonment sentences, the accused is definitively sentenced to 6 years, 1 month, and 8 days of imprisonment. The sentence shall be served in a closed regime pursuant to Article 33, Paragraph 2 of the Penal Code, considering the defendant's recidivism and the existence of unfavorable judicial circumstances. Regarding the prosecution's request to set a minimum compensation for the victim, I deny it. This is because no damages suffered by the victim have been demonstrated. As for the right to appeal in freedom, since the prerequisites and requirements that led to the decree of preventive detention remain present, it is maintained, also based on Theme 1068 of the Supreme Federal Court, which determines the immediate execution of the imposed sentence. So, this is the sentence which is hereby published in this act. And before closing the session, I would just like to make a few acknowledgements. First of all, to the jurors who set aside their routines, their families, their lives to fulfill this fundamental role in our country, a direct exercise of citizenship. Here you are the judges of the case. My sincere thanks on behalf of the judiciary. I also thank the prosecutor, Dr. Gabriel, for once again sharing with us so much legal knowledge. I likewise thank the distinguished defense counsel. The ladies have shared with us a great deal of legal knowledge today. You came from afar and graced us with all of this. It is also a pleasure to meet you in person.
I would also like to express my sincere gratitude to everyone in the audience who contributed to the exceptionally smooth and efficient operation of these proceedings. And finally, though certainly not of any less importance, I thank the military and penal police who worked tirelessly to ensure that we maintained a calm and peaceful jury. Thanks to your dedicated service, we can all lay our heads on our pillows and sleep peacefully every single night. Thank you very much. I conclude. Good afternoon to everyone. And
So did you agree with the decision? If you were part of the jury, would you have decided the same way? Leave your comment here